In 1925, a British explorer named Percy Harrison Fawcett vanished into the Brazilian Amazon jungle, along with his son Jack and their friend Raleigh Rimmel. He was searching for what he called the City of Z, an ancient metropolis he believed was hidden beneath the impenetrable canopy of the rainforest. The world mocked his obsession. Archaeologists of the time insisted that the Amazon was a pristine wilderness, untouched by advanced civilization, where complex societies could never have developed due to poor soil and a hostile environment. Fawcett was dismissed as a dreamer, a lunatic chasing ghosts in the jungle. But nearly a century later, a technology called LiDAR, using lasers to map the ground beneath dense vegetation, revealed something shocking. Beneath centuries-old trees, beneath layers of soil and roots, entire cities lie hidden. Massive urban complexes, perfectly planned roads, pyramids, aqueducts, and irrefutable evidence that millions of people once lived in sophisticated Amazonian civilizations that simply disappeared. Percy Fawcett was not insane. He was right all along. Fawcett was not just another adventurer or treasure hunter. Born in 1867 in Torquay, England, he was a British artillery officer, a trained surveyor, and a member of the Royal Geographical Society. Between 1906 and 1924, Fawcett led 7 expeditions into the Amazon, mapping unexplored territories, demarcating borders between Brazil, Bolivia, and Peru, and documenting encounters with isolated indigenous tribes. He was meticulous, courageous, and deeply respected by the scientific community of his time. During these expeditions, Fawcett began encountering things that made no sense within the prevailing academic understanding of the Amazon. He discovered fragments of sophisticated pottery in remote locations, ancient roads hidden beneath vegetation, remnants of stone structures, and consistent indigenous accounts of ancient cities and earlier races that had built great monuments deep in the forest. These stories were dismissed as mythology, but Fawcett began to believe there was something more. In 1753, a Portuguese document came into Fawcett's possession, known as Manuscript 512, archived in the National Library of Brazil in Rio de Janeiro. The manuscript described the discovery of a lost city in 1743 by Portuguese bandeirantes exploring Brazil's interior. They reported massive stone ruins, statues, hieroglyphs carved into walls, temples, and evidence of an advanced civilization stretching across vast areas. The manuscript provided detailed descriptions, but no precise coordinates, making the city impossible to rediscover. Fawcett became obsessed. He combined the information from Manuscript 512 with his own field observations, concluding that a vast ancient metropolis existed in the heart of the Amazon, possibly as old and sophisticated as the civilizations of Egypt or Mesopotamia. He called it the City of Z. The name wasn't chosen for drama. It was simply a working designation. Z, the final letter, representing the ultimate mystery. In 1925, at 57 years old, Fawcett organized his final expedition. He departed from Cuiabá, in Mato Grosso, accompanied by his 21-year-old son, Jack, and Jack's friend, Raleigh Rimmel. The expedition was deliberately small. Fawcett believed that smaller groups could move faster and reduce the risk of conflict with hostile tribes. They carried limited supplies, planning to live off the land as they advanced. Fawcett's last communication was a letter sent in May 1925 from a camp known as Dead Horse Camp near the Xingu River. He wrote that they were about to enter unexplored territory and expected to make significant discoveries. After that, silence. They vanished without a trace. Over the following decades, more than 100 rescue expeditions were launched, some funded by the Fawcett family, others by newspapers and geographical societies. Many of these expeditions also ended in tragedy, with explorers dying from disease, accidents, or conflicts with indigenous groups. Rumors spread that Fawcett had been captured and killed by the Kalapalo people, who lived in the region where he was last seen. Others claimed he had been adopted by a tribe and chosen to live among them, rejecting civilization entirely. There were even stories that he had found the City of Z and decided to remain there, guarding its secrets. In 1951, Brazilian explorer Orlando Villas-Boas reported that the Calapalo admitted to killing Fawcett and his companions, claiming self-defense after a misunderstanding. They even produced bones they said belonged to Fawcett. Later analysis showed the bones were not his. The mystery remained unresolved.
The results are negative.
In 1996, British explorer Benedict Allen visited the Calapalo and received a different account. According to them, Fawcett had left their village peacefully, heading east, and was never seen again. Indigenous witnesses said smoke from a campfire was seen several days later in the direction Fawcett had traveled, then nothing. Fawcett's story became legend, inspiring books, films, and countless theories. Yet his central idea, that advanced civilizations once existed in the Amazon, was ridiculed for decades. The dominant narrative claimed the rainforest was too primitive to support large populations. The soil was considered too poor for large-scale agriculture. The jungle was seen as an impenetrable barrier to complex society. The Amazon, scholars insisted, had always been inhabited only by small groups of hunter-gatherers living in simple harmony with nature. That narrative was profoundly wrong. Over the past 2 decades, archaeologists have uncovered evidence that completely overturns this view. The introduction of LiDAR technology was revolutionary. LiDAR, light detection and ranging, uses laser pulses emitted from aircraft or drones to map terrain beneath forest canopies. The lasers penetrate leaves and branches, reflecting off the ground to create incredibly precise 3-dimensional models of the landscape. This allows researchers to see structures completely invisible from the ground or conventional aerial photography. In 2018, researchers led by archaeologist Heiko Prumers from the University of Bonn used LiDAR to survey 200 square kilometers in the Llanos de Mojos region of Bolivia, near the Brazilian border. What they found was astonishing. Beneath the vegetation lay an urban network belonging to the Causeways culture, dating from approximately 500 to 1400 CE. These were not small villages. They were complex cities with populations estimated in the tens of thousands. LiDAR imagery revealed ceremonial pyramids up to 22 meters tall, monumental platforms, interconnected water reservoirs, elevated roads stretching for kilometers across flooded terrain, and sophisticated water management systems including dams, dikes, and aqueducts. The level of hydraulic engineering rivaled ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia or the Indus Valley. Even more impressive, researchers identified at least 26 major sites in the region, all connected by road networks. This indicates a level of urban planning, social organization, and political coordination that should not have existed according to outdated views of Amazonian history. These were complex societies with social hierarchies, specialized labor, the ability to mobilize massive workforces, and advanced knowledge of agriculture and resource management. Soil analysis revealed something even more remarkable: Amazonian dark earth, or terra preta. This artificially enriched soil, created using charcoal, organic waste, and broken pottery, retains nutrients and remains fertile for centuries. Modern science still struggles to fully replicate its properties. This innovation transformed naturally poor soils into highly productive farmland, capable of sustaining large populations. And the Causeways culture is not an isolated case. In 2022, another LiDAR study revealed even larger urban complexes in the Ecuadorian Amazon, dating from roughly 500 BCE to 1500 CE. These sites include over 6,000 earthen platforms arranged in precise geometric patterns, central plazas, ceremonial and residential structures, drainage systems, and road networks connecting settlements across the region. Conservative estimates suggest between 8 and 10 million people lived in the Amazon before European contact. Some estimates go as high as 20 million. These societies were not primitive. They possessed advanced knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, engineering, agriculture, and medicine. They created sophisticated art, symbolic communication systems, and monumental architecture rivaling anything in the Old World at the same time. So, what happened? The answer is devastating. Disease. When Spanish and Portuguese explorers arrived in South America in the early 16th century, they brought smallpox, measles, influenza, typhus, and other old-world diseases, to which indigenous populations had no immunity. These diseases spread faster than the Europeans themselves. Entire villages were wiped out. Populations collapsed by 80, 90, even 95%. Social structures disintegrated. Knowledge was lost. And the jungle, once meticulously managed, quickly reclaimed abandoned land. When later explorers penetrated deeper into the Amazon, they encountered only scattered survivors. And because they could not imagine a different past, they assumed the forest had always been that way. Now, with modern technology, the truth is emerging. The Amazon is not, and never was, a pristine wilderness. It is a cultivated landscape, shaped by millions of human hands over millennia. Many dominant fruit trees were planted intentionally. Vegetation patterns reflect ancient agricultural choices. Even the biodiversity itself may be partially the result of deliberate human management. Percy Fawcett, once mocked, was fundamentally right. There were lost cities in the Amazon. Advanced civilizations did exist. The city of Z may not have been a single city, but rather one of many ancient metropolises now being rediscovered. Fawcett never lived to see his vindication. But his legacy endures, a reminder that what we dismiss as impossible today may be revealed as truth tomorrow. Only about 5% of the Amazon has been properly studied archaeologically. If that small fraction has already revealed civilizations numbering in the millions, what remains hidden beneath the other 95%? The Amazon still holds countless secrets. Beneath every hectare of forest may lie the remnants of lives lived, cities built, and histories waiting to be rediscovered. And perhaps, somewhere deep in the jungle, the very city Fawcett sought still exists, its monuments buried beneath centuries of green silence. Fawcett never returned to tell us what he found, but the forest, slowly, is beginning to speak.